Hi, folks. Welcome to the Getting Your Edge podcast. My name is Dennis.
And hi, I'm Judy Gratton.
And we're here to help you right-size your home and your life. Okay. Hi-ho, good neighbors, and welcome to episode 19 of Getting Your Edge, How to Right-Size Your Home and Life podcast, brought to you by the fabulous Edge Group team and eXp Realty. We are so excited to be back. We have a couple of things to follow up on from our previous episode. I don't know, Judy, if you've seen it. I read the Seattle Times, and I'm going to share this newspaper. Uh-oh, it's backwards. Well, the people on the radio can't see it. Basically, it says the landscape has changed for sellers planning to remodel. So last week we talked about buy versus sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what they're saying. It didn't matter much if you spent months on unnecessary renovations when houses were shooting up in value. So several years ago, sellers were getting offers well above their listed price. There was a delay in their renovations. So you get your renovations started. It takes a few times. Well, their home value was increasing during that time that the renovations were occurring, right? But that all worked in the seller's favor, but the market cooled. Yeah. You know, I was just on the other day and I noticed that in Lake Forest Park, the city I live in, the value has really dropped 14% since January 2022. So they're saying, they're giving an example. This real estate agent for Windermere, Max Rombach, says one seller in the Bridal Trails neighborhood, this is Kirkland, pretty nice neighborhood to live in near Microsoft, they sank $400,000 into their remodel and then watched the home prices fade when they finally went to sell, couldn't get their $400,000 back, not even close.
That's a huge reason why before you even start a remodel, you should talk to your realtor. And I say realtor versus real estate agent. They are two different things. People who are realtors pay for the privilege of being a realtor with the National Association of Realtors. And they also agree to abide by a code of ethics. So real estate agents are required to abide by the law, but they are not tied to any code of ethics. They may be very ethical and they may not. So, but a realtor guarantee or warrant, if they're not abiding by that code of ethics, you can file a complaint with the Board of Realtors in addition to the licensed state Washington State or any state licensing board. So I highly recommend realtors. We are realtors. And I highly recommend that you have one that is just like you have a dentist and a doctor, you have a realtor, and they'll be there to answer those questions for you. Is it a good idea to remodel? Is it a good idea what to do with the equity in my home? They can help you with that, and it doesn't cost you anything. Not until you go to sell.
Well, speaking of selling, let's talk about the chicken and egg scenario. And this happens to a lot of people. They're in a home. It's not quite right. And are they going to sell that home first and then buy their next home? Or are they going to buy their next home first and then sell their current home? So why don't you talk about some life changes where people are thinking about, hey, this home's not working right.
There are so many, and really that's why people buy. That's why they move. If you're single and you buy a condo or even rent a condo on Capitol Hill because it's such a hip, cool place to live, and then you get a partner or get married and you suddenly it's too small, or you add to that, you have children or pets and they don't fit. And so now you have, and the whole environment doesn't work for you anymore. So now maybe because you have children, you want to move to a place where they have a yard and the schools are good. And so that's what happened to me. We lived on Capitol Hill and we had our daughter on Capitol Hill. And it was a wonderful place to live at the time. But eventually it didn't work for us with a 2-year-old. And we ended up moving. Our first move was to a home in Kirkland and had a huge backyard. And that's, we wanted the schools and we wanted the yard. And that was why we made that move. So that's the environment changes. You get divorced. Unfortunately, someone passes away. You're getting older and the home is too small. You have children and the home doesn't work for you anymore. The neighborhood doesn't work for you anymore. You're relocated. There are many, many reasons that people move.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless. So we
They are.
concentrate on downsizing because that's kind of where we are specializing. But it doesn't have to be a downsizer who's looking at the scenario. It could be the folks who are moving up,
True.
or even sideways, maybe moving from that suburban place to a downtown exciting condo or the beach resort area, etc. So what's kind of first about what you do? You've got a house, it's not working for you. What do you do?
Well, as I just mentioned, if you have a realtor that you're working with, I would be contacting them they know the questions that to help you make an informed decision about what your next step is. They can help you by asking you questions that can help you make a decision. Maybe it isn't the home that isn't working for you so much as maybe it needs to be updated, or maybe it is the home and you need to move. These are questions that they can help ask you. If you added a bedroom, would that help? They can tell you, what is your equity position in that home? And your equity is the money that you would walk away with if that home were sold. And you can use that money sometimes and not move, to remodel, to go on vacation, to do any number of things. And so those are all things that a realtor can help you do. Our other realtor here, Jim, just walked into the room. So anyway, those are things that a realtor can help you do. But once you have that realtor, it's like the first question is, why is that home not working for you anymore? You need to figure that one out. And then once you've figured that one out, the next thing would be, okay, if this home isn't working for you anymore, what do you need and want? And you want to make that question, you want to make sure that the next move, you can stay there as long as possible, that it meets your requirements. So what do you need? What do you want? Two different things, because the next question is, what can you afford, or your budget? And that's where the lender comes in.
So you mentioned the term equity position. Let's examine that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
So when you buy a home and you pay for it, and from that day forward, your home is either appreciating in value, or sometimes, as you mentioned, there will be a reset and you might depreciate in value. And a realtor can help you figure that one out based on what you paid for the home and where the value is now. On average, homes in our area will, just if there's not anything crazy going on, you're looking at a 5 to 7% appreciation annually, just normally. When the economy tanked in 2006, homes lost 50% of their value. And then they climbed back up again. And we had, 2020, 2021, 2019, really from 2011 on, they were growing pretty quickly they were going up. You mentioned people offering you more for the home than what you were asking. That will bump the whole market up, because the way we determine value of homes in a neighborhood is by looking what other homes sold in the neighborhood. And so if somebody offers someone $100,000 over asking, suddenly the whole neighborhood goes up in value. You bought your home, you're making payments on it. So you're also, if you have a loan, every time you make a payment, maybe not initially, because a lot of that goes to interest, but you're paying down the loan and then you're appreciating in value. And so you're realtor will give you what's referred to as a net proceed. So you can see if you sold the home today, this is what you could anticipate walking away with. And that is your equity. And it is sitting in your home whether you sell or not. So maybe you want to consider getting a what we call a HELOC, a home equity loan, and they will loan you, give you like a line of credit, and you could use that money any way you really wanted to. And most lenders will recommend that you get that. Just leave it sitting there so you have it if you ever needed it in an emergency. And that home equity line of credit, like I said, you can pull from it to remodel. You could pull from it to go on vacation. What do you want to do? You could pull from it and invest it in the stock market. You could pull from it and buy another house. Depending on how much equity you have, the longer you're in your home, the more equity you have. People downsizing, many of them bought their homes in the 80s, maybe the 70s. They may have paid that loan off altogether. They probably paid somewhere around 150,000 for their home, for just a middle class home. Those homes are somewhere $700,000 to $1 million now for just a middle class home. So that's a lot of equity. You could do a lot with that.
And how is a real estate agent going to help you determine that?
They would do a market evaluation of your home. What have other homes around your home sold for? What is the current competition for your home in that area? What are they asking? How long do the homes average stay on market? Do they sell for more than market value? That all helps you to determine what the current value is of your home when they do that report. And as we've mentioned before, that report is a snapshot current to just today. If a home in your neighborhood sells tomorrow, it could conceivably change the value of your home. If someone offered $100,000 over asking for that home, it will change the value of your home, because now you have a comparable property that sold. Knowing that it bumped up 100,000, everybody goes up. And of course, if that home has 300 square feet more than you do, you need to make an adjustment for that. If that home was totally remodeled and yours isn't, you need to make adjustments for that. But the market goes up based on what, or down based on what homes sell for. Right now, they are going up again because we have a shortage of inventory. So we call that a seller's market.
Yeah, Lake Forest Park listings are down 40% from this time last year. So
even though your homes took a dip, and they probably, the values started to drop about May 15th of 2022 when the interest rates started to climb. And then they always take a bit of a dip as you go into the winter months. But when you got to January and people are starting to think about moving again, that had adjusted downward to about that point. Now it's starting to climb again. And now we're in that period of time where you have the most buyers on the market and we're 40% less in inventory. We have people who want to buy. And so you'll probably see that go back up again. Will it hit what it was in January of 2022? We don't know yet, but might.
Can't predict the future. Wish we could.
We try.
All right.
Based on what the data shows us from the past, but that's how we do our valuations. And that's how every seller needs to look at their home. It's not what you want for it. It doesn't matter what you want for your home. It's what the market will bear, what buyers are willing to offer you. So to say, I need this to get my next home is, we would love to say, and maybe it'll work, that what you need and what you get are the same thing. But sometimes people have inflated ideas of what they need, and it's just not going to happen, especially if you start out by pricing it at what you need and that's over market value. Buyers are very smart now. They have the ability to go online and figure out what the values should approximately be. And if it's overpriced, they don't look. You can't say, I'll lower it later. You'll lose money by doing that.
I have assessed my situation. I've found out my equity position. I've talked to a real estate agent, got a good idea what's going on in the market. I've thought about what I need in my next move. And now you're going to have to make this big decision. Are you going to buy your next home first and then sell your current home? Are you going to sell your home first and then hopefully buy the next one quickly? Or are you going to try and sell on contingency? So, what about the first scenario? Buy first, then sell your home. Let's talk about the pros and cons of what you need to do.
Well, that is probably the least stressful transition for the seller because they know where they're going to go. The issue with that is the first thing they have to do is talk to a lender unless they're paying cash. And let's say the cash is tied up in the home. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But if they need to get financing for their next home, the very first thing they need to do is talk to a lender. Do they qualify to do what's referred to as a bridge loan? So the lender, and I don't know exactly how these work other than the lender ties both homes into one loan and you can then go buy. And then as soon as your home sells, that portion of it is paid off. And now you go into a loan without doing another loan. It just transfers into a loan on the home you bought. And that's called a bridge loan. And that allows you to make an offer on that home, close on it, move, then sell your home. Or, once you have that offer tied up, maybe you go ahead and put it on the market but you buy first, and the loan ties both of those homes together into a loan. And it depends on whether or not a lender will allow you to do that if you qualify, basically, based on your credit report, your earnings, all the things that you would get a normal loan on. So, and they have different names for them, but basically they're referred to as a bridge loan because they give you a bridge to go to that new home. If you qualify for that, then you can go ahead and go out and find a home, make an offer, get it under contract before you ever consider putting your home on the market. It is of course, there's always stress when you're moving. It's one of the top 10 stressors out there, but it's less stressful to do that than it is to list your home first. That buy first scenario allows you to know where you're going and maybe even go there before you ever put your other home on the market. Maybe you want to move out and be in your new home and then put that other home on the market. And, it could be appreciating the whole time you're doing that. You don't know, we do know if the market is a seller's market, a buyer's market, is it in transition? Your realtor can answer that question. That buy first, then sell is going to be easier for the seller.
Well, then we have the sell first,
Correct.
Then buy. And that can be kind of stressful.
It can. And a lot of people say, well, I can go out and find a home and make a contingent on the sale of my home. You can do that. There's a couple things to consider. What does the market look like? Because if it is a seller's market and there's a shortage of inventory, you are competing with other buyers. And if another buyer comes into the market who does not have to sell a home, that selling your home is a risk to the seller in that, what if it doesn't sell? Now the seller has been on the market for a longer period of time. And if it doesn't sell, the way a contingency works, you promise that you will sell your home within a certain period of time. If you don't do it, you can cancel the contract and get out of it. Now the seller is, let's say, been on the market for 180 days. Because they've been on the market so long, buyers are looking at it going, what's wrong with it? And so it hurts the seller to take your contingent offer when there's another offer there from a buyer non-contingent on the sale of your home. That's the contingency is referred to on the sale of your home. The second reason that's stressful for you is that if you make an offer like that, at least in the state of Washington, the way the document that you're signing and presenting to them reads is that you must put your home on the market within 5 days. So if your home isn't ready, it doesn't matter. It has to go on the market. And it takes normally at least 2 weeks to really do a good job of getting the home ready to be photographed, getting the photographs printing up all the documents, the flyers, the brochures, whatever, getting the signage up, all of that takes time. So if you go buy a home contingent and you only have 5 days to get your home on the market, that's going to be a stressor. So there is another avenue where you have listed your home, you have a contract. So now you are pending. You've gone through, if there was an inspection period in that contract, you've through it. So now the only thing is just a successful closing of your current contract. There is the way to make an offer on a home contingent on the successful closing, contingent on the contract that you already have. That is stronger, and the seller is more likely to accept that than contingent on the sale of your home where you haven't even listed it. So that's kind of a middle of the road place. And will they accept that offer over one that does not have a contingency like that at all? It's always the seller's choice. Maybe if you're offering more, they will. It's just up to them. But it kind of goes like that: contingent on the successful closing, and then there's no contingency like that in your offer or an offer. And the seller will most likely go for the one without it.
If you're not going contingent and you've sold your home, what are some strategies that a seller can use to give them more time to find that next home?
When you get an offer from a buyer, your agent can talk to you about what you want to, and maybe you've already had this conversation. How long would it take you to move once a home closes? Can you start packing now? If you just go by the way the pre-printed contract reads, it reads that the buyer gets the home the day it closes. That means you have to be out before you get your money. And that can be a little difficult. So especially in a seller's market like what we're in right now, shortage of inventory, buyers are willing to give things to get a home. You could ask, can we extend the closing, make it a longer period to close? Most closings are 30 days. Can we have 45 to the date of closing so that we can be out? Or can we rent back after closing? And dependent on the agent and the circumstances, what you would have to pay for that rent back is up to what can be negotiated. Anything from zero to what their mortgage payment is, or maybe even more. Again, it would depend on the negotiations between the buyer and the seller once there's a contract. But there is that option that we can keep you in your home after it closes to give you the ability to transfer to your new home more smoothly.
I want a caveat to that, though. My wife and I did an extended closing. We moved from our very first home, which was, kind of a dump, to our current home, which is great. And we sold and then did a 90-day close because we were in a super overheated market like we've seen so often, hoping that we could find that home, that next home, within that 90 days, blah, blah, blah. Well, we did, but in that 90 days overheated market, we lost all kinds of equity. It just,
that the home you were trying to buy was going up in value. And
right.
So you locked into a contract on your home at a price point, and equity continued to grow, and the home you bought was more expensive than you anticipated it would be 90 days. Yes.
Yeah. We had to go out of our budget, and I'm glad we did, but it was also a stretch for a couple of years where we did go to movies and we didn't go out to eat and we didn't do these things because that payment, we had to pay $30,000 more than we had budgeted, right? Well, today's market, $30,000 doesn't seem that much, but at that time, this is 1997. That's a lot of money. Yeah. So it was tough. I'm glad we did it. Because we got into a great home and a great neighborhood, etc. We had to sacrifice for a couple of years. But it is an issue to think about. And that's where your realtor can really help you, and your lender.
You're communicating with these people. They're helping you make these decisions based on how you're going to be affected in the long run. It's all about how you're going to be affected by the contracts you write and by the homes that you buy and all of that. And that's why it's so important that you have people that you can trust. It's not about who's the cheapest realtor or the cheapest lender, really, because in the long run, they're trying to get you the best deal. It's more about what they know and that you feel you can trust them.
If you had a financial planner, well, don't you want regular updates about what's going on with your investments, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right. So why wouldn't you want that from a realtor?
Yeah.
Knowing
that equity position. Where are you? Where are you today? When was the last time someone sent you a report to tell you where your home is today? And I'm not talking about the tax man, because those are two different things. And frequently the tax value is undervalued from where your home would actually sell for. Sometimes it's right on, but not very often. We do that. We do for our clients when they close on a home every year on that anniversary date. They get a report from us, but we also provide them with just a monthly report that is sent out automatically, and it tells them, based on their equity, this is what you have. And a lot people love it. If you're not working with us, make sure to ask, can I get this? Can I stay informed?
The realtor should be doing that. And as a consumer, you need to look at the realtor as professional service that is going to help you with the biggest asset that you have.
Absolutely.
Most of us don't have giant stock portfolios, and we didn't invest in Uber and Apple and all that and stuff. And your home is your biggest investment.
True.
You need to kind of keep track of it as an investment. It's not just a place to live. It is your investment.
And that's true about taking care of it. That's true about knowing what the value of it is. That, yes, and having that person that you trust, that you have dealt with before, and they did a good job for you, is huge. It's like you wouldn't just go to I wouldn't go to any dentist because I don't like dentists. So I have a dentist I trust, and I have a doctor I trust, and I have a lawyer I trust. All these different people that you should just make sure that whoever it is you're dealing with, you trust. Your lender, same thing. Good lenders, good realtors are not just trying to sell your home or sell you a new home. They're there to provide you with information all along the way. Just to recap, it's like, what are you trying to achieve? Why does your house not work for you anymore? Get professionals involved, both a realtor and a lender, and let them help you make the proper decisions so that you're informed and you know what you're getting into. Do not start looking first, please, because invariably what happens is you find the home you absolutely love, and you are not prepared to buy it because you either haven't talked to your lender, you haven't sold your home, and you don't understand what that means, and you lose it. It goes to someone else. Especially in this market, they don't stay on the market. And I promise you, if that happens once, you will compare every single home that you look at thereafter to the one you lost. How do I know this? Because I did it. I
did it personally?
I personally did it before I was in real estate, fell in love. And it's just so much easier on you to be prepared. So when you find the home you love, you can make the offer on it, put your best foot forward. And then if it was meant to happen, it will. You might lose it still if you're in competition, but you at least know you did the best you could.
I hope that gives you some more information on how to handle these life changes where you might need a different place to live. Its home is not working for you, because we are getting your edge, How to Right Size Your Home and Life podcast. I'm Dennis Day. Want to say goodbye, Judy?
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. That's it, folks. Thanks for listening. And stay tuned for future episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks. Goodbye.